the content of the discussion, I will demonstrate some use cases in research with practical demonstration, but very simple practical demonstrations just to get an idea on what we can do, because there can be some who are new to AI use in research and now for daily daily activities also. So I will be demonstrating a little bit with very simple examples. And I want to highlight the ethical implications. So, and also possible solutions. So these are the, this is the agenda for this presentation today. And I have tried my best, as earlier mentioned, to base my discussion on the research evidence. So whenever possible, I will be citing some research. So if you want to learn more, you can visit those, read those papers that I am citing, or there can be other papers also. I don't know whether there is any person from Indonesia. For Indonesians, this could be a familiar story. Actually, this story is quoted in copyright discussions. This is Naruto, macaco. Actually, this macaco monkey, it is a species of monkeys. He's living in Indonesia. I don't know whether he's still living. This happened in 2011. A British photographer was visiting this place, his habitat, and while unattended for the camera, this Naruto was trying to use it. Because he was curious about this equipment, and then incidentally he pressed the shutter of the camera, and he with this several photographs were taken, and one of these was a selfie of Naruto. So that incident was over. Then David Slater, who was a photographer, he went back to Britain. He is a British person. So after that, he published a book, and there were some photos taken by Naruto also, and including this selfie of Naruto. Then animal rights organization called PETA, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, they filed a case. That is a USA-based organization. They filed a case against Slater for copyright violation, because this Naruto was they argued that Naruto was the author of the photograph. But subsequently, the judges decided that according to the Copyright Acts of most of the countries, and in Sri Lanka it is explicitly mentioned, only humans can be authors. That means Naruto cannot be an author. Similarly, AI is not a human, so AI also cannot be an author according to the copyright law, because the current copyright law in many countries specify this, and also there are several legal decisions, also court decisions for this end. So actually, I took this example just to showcase that the AI generated content is not considered intellectually created or intellectual creation, right? So therefore, we have to base our discussion on what is AI ethics, considering that solely AI generated content or 100% AI generated content is not considered intellectual property because it is not created based on some intellectual activity. It is a mechanical activity. That is the basis for the discussion on AI ethics. We have to base our discussion on this because not only us, but almost all these ethical discussions, because of AI, hypothesize or they have to consider solely AI generated content is not intellectual property. When we talk about AI ethics, it is not only generative AI or Gen AI, but there is another type of AI applications. There are various types of AI applications. There are purpose-driven or state-of-the-art AI applications, either open or commercial. They are also being used for research. For example, there are climate prediction models. They are specifically created AI applications for predicting the climate variations using various sources like the satellite data or the satellite images or various types of data. They using those things or sensors. Sensors also collect a lot of information. So these data are used for AI is used for analyzing this data. So it is clear for us now that AI ethics is about using these technologies without conflicting with the social values. So consider it as an assistant, not as a master. We have to consider AI only as an assistant. If we become a slave of AI, then there is this problem of ethical use. The mostly used application of AI for research is for a literature review and for data synthesis or synthesis of reviews. They can scan, summarize, and organize. Of course, if we say within a few hours, if we can scan and summarize 2,000 articles, see how what the effect is. In one way, it is very efficient in doing our work because summarizing needs intellectual effort, but it takes time for a human to do that. But AI can do it very fast, right? But this helps in identifying articles from the stage of identifying possible articles. For example, Scholar AI, that is a AI application. It can, when we give a theme, it can find articles related to this. And it will sometimes, rather than a human, it can do it better in terms of the time spent on that and the amount of information collected. But on the other hand, there is a problem of missing some of the relevant articles because the AI application works on the training it had, right? But we are not sure whether it'll miss some of the articles, relevant articles, classic articles in this field in the search of literature. And also there is a problem of oversimplification. We will later on discuss this because AI applications, general AI applications have been trained to provide generalized results, and therefore the AI application this may lead to oversimplification of the results that, or the content, the amount of information that is high, but that will not be properly analyzed into the minute or detailed specific areas, but it will be generalizing the content. So that problem is also there. So I mentioned two things here. One is the applications such as Scholar AI, or there are various other applications. And on the other hand, it can this if we find our articles by ourselves, then it can summarize and organize them. So that is also possible. That is a use case. We will try to demonstrate with this particular aspect, literature review and data synthesis, with a very simple. Actually, I selected 3 articles related to fostering AI literacy among secondary school children. So if this is our theme, this is our area of research, if we found articles based on this, then we can give it to AI for generation of an output. So I will try to demonstrate this. I'm using ChatGPT for analyzing the article content. So I am selecting several examples. I'm taking for 3 articles for analysis. Can you see my interface, ChatGPT interface?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm using the ChatGPT for because of the ease of doing this for the demonstration, but there are so many other applications. This is the plus version of ChatGPT. So I'm using 4.0 model, 4.0 model, 4.0, no? Yeah, it's called 0. So anyway, so I'm asking AI to generate an output using this literature. I want to study the study AI literacy among school children. Analyze the attached files and summarize them. So I just want to summarize. It's like a literature survey, right? So I'm asking AI to summarize it. It summarizes the 3 articles that I provided. And this now after the first step, it has eased my work. I can do my own work and write the literature review. But there is another step we can use for this AI for synthesizing the content. So I will ask now. I'm not recommending any of this. Just or I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just demonstrating, and we will discuss the positive and negative aspects of these actions later on. So I'm asking, right? The literature review based on these summaries. So usually in a literature review, there are 2 steps. First, we look for articles and do the survey, and then we go to the review. So this is what I have done here. Yes, of course, we can do it in a single command, but here it is better. I prefer doing it in a stepwise manner. So I'm asking to review now. So it is writing the literature review. So we only used 3 articles, but if there are more articles, then it will be a very comprehensive review. But the problem here, we have to identify that first of all, the summarization could not be correct, accurate. There can be inaccuracies in that. It may not reflect the objective of the authors, and also the review also there can be inaccuracies. So we have to keep that in mind. That is why I said uh, we have to base our discussion on that we have the AI generated content is not intellectual property. So we have to have our uh, we have to either we have to either excuse me, can you mute the mics, please? If you have questions, please type on the chat box. So this we have to base our discussion considering that it is not intellectual property or intellectual work if we create solely if we depend solely on the AI generated content, but our input should be there. Either we have to go back and see these articles if their content is correctly reflected, or we have to get the ideas from AI and rewrite it in our own words. That is called paraphrasing. But for paraphrasing also, we have to have a good idea on the content of the source articles. So that is our first demonstration. I will go back to the presentation. Now we are taking a second case. It is on data analysis and pattern recognition.
මම මට ප්‍රොසෙස් කරන්න පුළුවන් නේද? ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ ඩොමේන් එක අරගෙන ඔයාට ඩොමේන් නේම් එකයි තව මොනවද එවන්න ඕනි?
Please mute your mics. Right. So data analysis and pattern recognition. So it is a positive development. Consider having 500 terabytes of data, and imagine how efficient it will be to analyze this using the pattern recognition models, like machine learning models. So it will, of course, increase the predictive accuracy, because a human cannot do this much of work, and it will take a long time. But because machine can do it faster and also reduce the human errors, therefore it will be, of course, very it is beneficial, of course, to do that with the machine. So, and predictive accuracy will be very high. And this is used in, for example, various cases like satellite image analysis for climate changes, and the creation of new drugs. So it can link the behavior of different proteins, and also some in medical research, the symptoms and diseases, the correlations between the symptoms and diseases. But at the same time, because of the opacity in models, that means the algorithms used in some of the models, if these models are not developed by us, if we are dependent on the models created by others, then most of the time these models, the inside, how it works inside, is not evident. Therefore, that is a problem that may introduce biases and misinterpretation of results because of that. And if we use this for very taking critical decisions, then that will be very much harmful. Therefore, we have to keep that in mind. Although data analysis and pattern recognition can be done easily with AI, there are risks. I will demonstrate that. Before that, yes, this is an example for an article from Nature, using deep learning for meteorological data sets, or for predicting the future meteorological changes. So this is from the same article I have extracted this. This is actually Hansen et al. Their work. They use satellite images to predict the temperature and rainfall at the end of the century. That means 21st century, by 2070 to 2100. So during that time, how will the temperature and rainfall vary? So that prediction is done using the satellite images available. So that is just an example of some of the applications, and also Hansen et al.'s all application, all that is also based on satellite images. So the risk here is using this. Now, if Hansen mentions about some of the threats or dangers. For example, if this model used for generation of the synthesis of the results is based on solely on the urban data, this data cannot be generalized to throughout the country. Now, for example, if it predicts about the tornadoes, then sometimes if it is incorrectly predicted, we may think that there could be false positives of tornado alerts for a particular region. So that means if there is a false positive, we are allocating a lot of resources for that, but it doesn't happen. It is not coming. That tornado is not coming. So that is a issue, right? So that also can happen. We have to keep that in mind. So now we are coming to the second illustration of pattern, the demonstration. It is based on hypothetical data. So I will calculate, I will find out whether there is a trend in this data without properly analyzing. Now this to analyze this, we have to calculate the averages, then we have to go into the trend analysis to build a chart, and then we can do the analysis. But without doing that, we will try to use this data directly to generate output. Now here I am using a data set, sample data set, not actual sample, but created for this particular exercise. Temperature data. Using the temperature data attached here, propose trends in temperature in the region. So I am using a hypothetical town called Dream Town. Now I am using this data to analyze. So this is the set of data, and it uses Python programming for Python for analyzing the data set. This is another thing. Now it uses Python, but we have to review whether it has been correctly used. Otherwise, it can generate false results using false methods. Now, this is the trend chart given, and yeah, so this annual rainfall chart, we can ask for a monthly create a month the monthly variation of rain of temperature during the years and predict trends. So it is giving the monthly variation also like this, and it can be used for predicting. So these are the predictions. So this type of work is also possible. Now again, I remind that this is just just a demonstration of a very simple application. I will go back to the presentation. Yes. So it is simple data, but there can be work done, but there can be more issues when the data set is very big. So ChatGPT may not be able to handle a very large data set. So that depends on the data set also. That therefore we have to be very careful. If we can't directly blindly use the data that is given as an output by ChatGPT or any other AI application. So actually transcription and coding and generating of themes is the third case that we are taking. So that is another application in qualitative analysis, qualitative data coding and analysis. So that is also possible using some of the applications already use this type of data. There are state-of-the-art applications using machine learning and AI. So I will, for this particular demonstration also, I will go back to the go back to ChatGPT, and we will see how that can be done using ChatGPT. Again, I am using a data set that is based on the student perception, university students' perception on online learning. There are several interview data that I have given. So this particular document contains interview data from several students, only a few students. That is also hypothetical. That can be used for coding, and so I will be asking this to summarize first, analyze the interview data provided here. So it analyzes the things. It is in just analysis. Then I will ask ChatGPT to code them. Create codes from the above data. So it has created the codes, and it had also identified the themes. So I didn't particularly ask it to identify the themes at this step, but it has already identified the codes and themes. Generate a report. So that is synthesis part, but while in the discussion, I will explain that this is not a good step to perform by a AI application. Of course, it can be used as a guide, but this is not a good way to use a AI application, because that should be human generated. The report should be human generated using AI as a tool to make it efficient, but the report generation should be human generated. But we will see how it generate a report using the data provided. So it is giving so it may not be actually according to the format you would like to have. So that also is a problem. You might need this to be changed because the format that you need could be a little different from this. So, or of course, you can advise ChatGPT to follow that format, because this is anyway not a one-time action. Using ChatGPT or any other application means, or generative AI means it is a iterative process. You may ask to do one thing, and then you may change it. You may ask it to refine So this is a conversation that we should be keeping in mind. Okay, so we will go back to the presentation. So this is what we did actually, qualitative data coding and analysis for the hypothetical condition of coding responses from university students on their experience with online learning. Now we will review what we have done, or actually the use cases that we have used. So actually speaking, the positive aspects, we have already discussed the positive aspects. So I'm not focusing much on the positive aspects, but there are things that we have to discuss in as negative aspects, because that is also very important. As Hansen has identified, he did a study on the research on earth sciences. He has seen a uh, uh, increase in AI related research, AI related research. That means according to in his own domain, they have used AI. Most of the researchers are now using AI in their research. So that is an observation. The negative aspects are that we might miss some of the insights or context that is crucial in interpreting research accurately. Because the AI application, it depends on where in which environment the AI application has been trained. So general AI applications like ChatGPT cannot do much work in identifying the contextual meaning, because the all now, for example, culture, there can be different contextual contextual meanings in different domains. So these cannot be captured well. And also, the AI tools scrape data from confidential sources. There is a risk of privacy breaches dealing with unpublished or sensitive research. Because there is a lot of, I think, from the number of participants, I can, I think there are lots of participants from abroad as well. Therefore, I didn't explain these much of these in Sinhala. But if there is any requirement, at the end, I will again summarize in Sinhala. I think that will be most suitable. Yeah, so that is there are so many threats for using confidential data. As Skolmowski mentioned, this is a threat to information sovereignty. Sovereignty means our own handling of our data. We lose the grip on data, our data, personal data sometimes, because if we include that in the AI applications, if we provide that in the AI applications, then therefore this has to be a concern of researchers. Even though we now example in education research, we might collect a lot of data from students, teachers, personal data from students and teachers, and also this environment, learning environment. So that is personal, that is private data. But if those data is directly without making them anonymous, if we add data to the system, then there will be a lot of issues. So, and sometimes it is not only purposely or the data given by us, but it may collect some data unknowingly. For example, now the operating systems also may have AI applications to collect some data without explicitly mentioning. And also the common applications like word processing applications or spell checker applications, they can, I'm not saying that they are doing this. We don't know with this, this can happen. There is a possibility, right? So that is there. I have seen some students recently sharing social media posts. They have created their own profile without giving any information after using AI for some time. They have asked for example, ChatGPT to create a profile of them with whatever the information they have. You also can try this, right? If you are a avid user of AI, then you can try this. And most probably it will create a very comprehensive profile of yourself because it has all this knowledge. It collects all this knowledge about you. That is how it is. In a way, it is a positive development, and it customizes the information to us. But on the other hand, it can be a threat to privacy. So the data leakage is a possible concern in our work. So we have to be careful about that. And whenever we use personal information, we have to anonymize them and use that. And also we have to keep in mind, as Hansen mentions, garbage in, garbage out. It depends, all depends on the prompt that you give. So prompt engineering, that means the text that you give, the command that you give to the AI application is important. If it is not proper, then it will also, the content it synthesizes also could be it not accurate, or there can be deficiencies. So they can be unreliable results. And also it is based on the application that we use. It could be a purpose designed application, in-house designed application, or a generally available off-the-shelf application. Always we have to keep this in mind to avoid misinterpretation or unreliable results. So if we review the use case 2 also, there are several positive aspects, but there are also negative aspects as well. It is like most of the AI applications are like black boxes. We don't know the algorithms inside. So we don't know what is happening inside. Whether and also an important area in research ethics is the research should be reproducible. Another person can get the same results when we do it again. So that is questionable in using AI applications. The use case 3, of course, the time-intensive processes can be, the efficiency can be enhanced, and also we can, therefore, if it is efficient and we get the results early, then we can focus more on interpretation aspects rather than using a lot of time on interpretation. Using a lot of time on interpretation is good, but we may use a lot of time in the transcription and coding. But that AI applications can use that because it is a mechanical activity. Transcription is a mechanical thing. So we don't need much intellectual effort into that. but AI improves coding consistency also. So that is also a positive aspect. Because a human may at different times, depending on his or her mental situation, the condition, the context, there can be differences in the in coding, but that is a human error that is prevented in using AI. And the contextual cases might be not be considered because of this oversimplification could happen. I use this photograph which was available on the web just to showcase the contextual meaning of whatever we do. It can be on culture, can be on different other things, but there are some contextual cues that we may miss. And if it is biased, the model is biased on qualitative data, it may extend those biases, because actually the biases can be, it can exaggerate, it can amplify, the biases can amplify, because when there is a small bias, the models, when they train itself, because they train for training, these biases are also used. Bias data also is used for training. So the bias can be amplified over time. So that also is a possible threat. Lin suggests in the different stages, at different stages of research, to consider the sources of biases and also mitigate those biases by various actions. So you can read this article I have given. You can search for this. It is also freely available on the web. So I have used the literature which is freely available, not something. I think most of these are not from the database, subscription-based databases, but although they are from good sources, they are freely accessible. And now we come to the last part of this discussion, the best practices. One of the major things that we can do is self-imposed limitations on AI use. Because actually, although we say this, my experience is many educational institutions, they do not usually focus on the overall workload of the students, especially when assigning work like assignments. Sometimes the students do not have enough time to complete all the assignments. This leads to, I'm not justifying, but this leads to students using AI without much intellectual effort. They are using it, although that may not be the intention of them, but they sometimes they can't do. I mean, they cannot actually put a lot of effort into a single assignment because they have a lot of complete. So that can be, that is one observation, not only from my university, but from various other universities also. I have discussed with some of the other lecturers, professors. They are also telling this, the workload of students is very high. Therefore, sometimes they might be now dependent on AI for completing their assignments. This is a little, I'm going a little away from the major topic, but that is also one area that we have to think of. Especially the educational institutions must look into that aspect. Whether students have a manageable workload. Of course, there should be a good workload to complete a course, but whether that is manageable is something that we have to consider. Is there any issue with the presentation? I can't see the bottom part of presentation. Is something happening? Do you also experience that? I see the. I will stop sharing and come back.
No, sir. We could see the presentation mode.
No, we
Okay,
can see.
then-
We can see the best
Okay.
practices.
Okay, right. I will check if there is any. Okay, so best practices. We have to handle bias. For that, one thing we can do is to have a diverse set of data from our study populations, because that will reduce bias. That we already know that in research ethics this is discussed. But even if we use AI, when we use AI, a small set of files or data. For example, in the previous demonstration, we used only 3 articles, but it gives a comprehensive synthesis as if we have analyzed 100 or more than 100 or more articles in that demonstration. So that means that it is generalizing the results based on the input that we gave. So that is a problem. So that to prevent that, we can have a diversity of diverse data from the study populations. And also regular audits of AI algorithms is a must. We have to test our AI algorithms, models, if we are using our own in-house models, or the other external data applications also. We can test whether they are biased towards using the generating results, right? So that is a concern. And also there should be multidisciplinary teams in research teams, because they can see if there is a bias, they can identify, and also the technologists also could be included to identify the problems or issues with regard to biases. The next best practices, transparency and accountability. That is, the algorithms we are using the algorithms in the AI applications, and whether they are explainable or interpretable. That is something that we have to think of, have a concern in doing our research based on AI applications. And the detailed records of data sources should be maintained, because whatever we do, the versions that we have used, on what prompts that we have used, these have to be recorded. And of course, API, for example, APA style, for example, they are providing how to cite the sources. So all these we have to employ and make it the data or the process that we use should be transparent. And we have to use regulatory frameworks, especially in relation to your domains. We have to, there are some in each domain, there are ethical practices, ethical conduct, especially ethical practices in research. Those frameworks we have to comply with. Then we can say whether we are using the using AI for research ethically. So ethics first approach is a must. And also we have to train our people, our researchers in an ongoing basis to make sure that they know the problems. I have again stopped sharing, and I will come back because there was an issue in that. Okay. Now, can you see the presentation now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So this is a article that explains the ethics, research ethics, ethics in journalism. But it can be applied to this research discussion also, because we seeking truth means to make it the data accurate, the data reliable, and integrity should be there, maintained. So that that can be applied in our context, all domain contexts also. But this is something related to journalism research. So journalism, they can apply their ethics framework described by the Society of Professional Journalists. If we find something, if we cannot be accountable to what we have said, or if we later on, if after publishing also, if we come across with a deficiency, we identify a deficiency, some issue, then it is our responsibility to either correct it or retract the paper that we have published, because of the because we have to be accountable to what we do. So if we give something wrong, even something wrong in the methodology, then we have to adhere to that principle, be accountable, and we have to minimize harm to the public. This is another framework called Ethical AI in Education, framework in STEM education. This also propose some of the actions to be taken and concerns in ethical research. In Marshall and Nuff, it raised the concern on weakening skills of researchers. The respondents in that survey, they did, they have mentioned it could create less capable researchers because using AI reduces our, it suggests whether it reduces or asks whether it reduces the capabilities of researchers. So the respondents have marked it all as a challenge. That doesn't mean that I agree with that. Of course, that is a concern, and we have to be more concerned on what the prompt we give. So the prompt engineering is a major aspect that we have to make, because the intellectual effort comes from the prompt engineering. And there are some copyright cases also, which provides the authority or the authorship to you based on the amount of work, amount of effort that you have put into something. So if you have put a lot of effort, then you have more control. But if you have provided, you have used less effort, then you don't have much of the authority in the final output. Yeah, so sorry for that background. I will reduce it. So I have used this. This is a presentation I did for recently for a uh, research conference in Sri Lanka. This is about using generative AI for semi-automatically creating catalog records. Here I was asking the legal discussing about the legal complexities of authorship of AI generated catalog records. So that type of issues may arise. Now, although ethics and copyright or legal concerns are two different things, the margin is very the difference, the line between these two is very thin. Therefore, if we are not properly attending to the ethical concerns, there is a issue, there is a problem of legal validity also. Therefore, that exemplifies, that illustrates how important this considering the AI ethics in doing our research also. Because otherwise, we might unnecessarily end up with legal battles. So with that, I will stop here. If we have time, we can answer. We can